Well, hi there. It's been a little while since we've done a video, hasn't it? About 10 months now, I think. Oops. Really didn't intend to go on quite that long of a break, but is what it is. We're back now. That's all that matters. And as you can probably tell, I am doing a little bit of off-trailing here. Probably no surprise as to where I am in the Red River Gorge, and going to be taking in the wonderful fall colors. And more specifically, right now I am looking for some new to me arches. So let's go see if we can find them. So the biggest thing about off-trailing in this part of Kentucky, and this part of the Appalachians in general, is figuring out how to swim through the dang rhododendrons. It can be a real challenge sometimes. This isn't a particularly thick patch. This one's actually pretty easy, but still sucks to go through. It looks like, well, you can't really tell on video, but it looks like I'm hitting a cliff here, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get down and around. So as you can see, getting some really nice fall color. This is just a small patch of it, but this drainage here is what we're gonna work our way down around, and the arch should be around there somewhere. Found a clear spot here at the base of this cliff line to take a quick little breather. I'll tell you what, this has turned out to be a pretty legit little bushwhack. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of stick somewhat close to this cliff line and follow it. It'll be a bit easier along the drip line. But I also want to be careful because, as you can see, there's a lot of delicate ferns and stuff around me. I'm trying my best to not trample any of them. But anyway, I need to quit blabbing here, put the pack back on, and continue fighting through this jungle here. Okay, everybody. Formidable bushwhack to get here. You can definitely tell not very many souls here to venture out here, but I've made it to the actually two arches. The more impressive arch is in front of me. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to save the best for last in this area anyway. But there's also a little column arch here, so I guess I haven't told you where we are, have I? For obvious reasons, we're going to leave the details a little vague, but this is the Rockhouse Arch, and this is the Rockhouse Pillar Arch. And that's actually kind of a nice little pillar. I didn't expect much from it. I am going to photograph these. I don't think they'll make the most exciting photographs ever, but I might as well photograph them for documentation purposes. Let's go over here. This is the bigger arch. This is the Rockhouse Arch. And as you can see, this is clearly, I believe they call them alcove arches, where you had clearly a rock shelter. And then for whatever reason, at some point in time, the back of that rock shelter collapses and leaves you with an arch. So yeah, all this debris here, this would have at one time been the roof of the rock shelter. But as you can see, it collapsed and left us with a pretty substantial arch, actually. I didn't realize this thing was quite this large. Yeah, my plan is spend some time enjoying these, trying to get some photographs to document them. And then I believe I can just continue around this cliff line. I'm going to look at some maps to make before I make my final decision. But I believe I can just continue around this cliff line and cut up to the top of the cliff and get back that way, rather than having to swim through all that again, because it is now 11:12. Whew, I'll tell you what, that wasn't easy. Sometimes these rhododendrons are like hands grabbing you. But I climbed a tree and got up one level of the cliff line here, and I finally found a spot I can get up the second level. I'm pretty confident that this is the last level, and just walk out to the top of the ridge and hike back. Now, got a little winded. I don't know if you can see that sea of roadies behind me, but they're like arms wrapping around you, and you got to fight your way through them. So I should mention that there are actually a ton of other arches out here. Just down the cliff line from where we were, there are 4 or 5 others, and actually right down there are at least 2 others. Down that way is Deer Path Arch, and I don't know, something else, Deer Arch or something. But I'm not going to hit those today. Rockhouse was the main one I wanted to hit, so that means we're going to continue on that way. And the walking is actually pretty easy up here. Not only is the forest not that thick, but you may be able to pick up here. And I am following a pretty clear trail now. But I actually want to ask you guys your opinion on this style of video, where I'm doing this kind of off trail and things are a lot more vloggy. They're not, you know, really edited together, or I mean, they're edited together, but you know, they're not cinematic, no music, nothing like that. It's just, you know, sort of a vlog, a lot of talking like this, and they're probably a lot rougher around the edges. And that's because for me to do this kind of video, they pretty much have to be, because I mean, you see what I have to go through, right? I got to be able to concentrate on navigating, not getting hurt, that kind of thing. And it's just hard to get good cinematic shots. You know, like this isn't a good example, but you saw the rotos that I was going through earlier. There's only so much I can do, right? So let me know what you guys think of this style video. If you'd like me to continue to possibly make stuff like this, because honestly, I'm more inclined to film these videos than the other ones. As you notice, there's a long break. That's just because I got kind of bored. These are a lot easier. They take a lot less time. This is stuff I'm doing anyway. So if you like them, do let me know. All right, so Turtleback Arch is this way. I went ahead and checked out that way just to see it, because I've never been down there. Really just a bunch of campsites. There are other things down there that I'm aware of, but nothing I want to hit today. So we're going to continue on this way to Turtleback Arch. So yeah, that's the current situation. Then from there, we will hit the Swift Camp Creek Trail, and well, there's all kinds of stuff we may hit up on the way back. So we're just getting started, really. Plenty more to see. All right, so we got to sort of what the crux, if you will, of this hike will be, which is the scramble. But as you can see, again, I know the camera's not going to do it justice, but we've got a pretty formidable little down climb here. All right, so there's another view of what we come down. Nothing too bad, a little tricky. So I was just kind of exploring here, and it actually turns out that it'd be a lot easier to come down and go up that little side thing there. It's just down a ways from where we came down. We being me and all of you, I guess. But yeah, that would be easier for future reference. That's okay, what we did was not that hard. But anyway, let's go check out Turtleback Arch, shall we? Been dragging it out long enough, don't you think? Here it is, Turtleback Arch. That's the main Turtleback Arch there. And then we've got Little Turtleback Arch. It's actually not at all obvious where to go. I thought the path would be a little more obvious with because this isn't like super unknown or anything. But I found it, happy I found it. I'm gonna spend some time shooting it, and then we'll continue on. It is about 1 o'clock. So we'll see what we do from here. If I'm feeling it, we may do the Moonshine still. In fact, I would like to do that because I haven't been to that before. So for now, I want to shoot this thing. All right, so we just came down another decent little rock scramble there. I want to say that's the last one, last major scramble before we hit Swift Camp Creek, if I could be wrong. All right, so right here, Swift Camp Creek Trail. It continues on that way, and this way, just the way we want to go. As you can see, this is a little stream that you got to cross right here, and this is what I was talking about, Pooch's Turtle Falls. The trail actually goes over top of it. It's actually flowing a little bit, which is surprising. I didn't think it would be flowing at all. This is a very wet weather waterfall to be worth going down to. Okay, I'm not going to go down to it. It's kind of pointless right now, but as you can see, there's a mini upper falls, but then it flows down right there, and that's the actual Pooch's Turtle Falls. And like I was saying, it's extremely wet weather to be worth going down to, but if you hit this in the right conditions, it's actually a really cool waterfall that a lot of people overlook. Probably because it's usually like that or less. But it kind of reminds me of a miniature Lick Creek Falls. I'll put a picture of it up on the screen here. But most people don't bother with it, and I think it's actually a really neat waterfall in the right conditions. So there it is down there. Terrible view of it, I know, but that's it down there. Yeah, that's Pooch's Turtle Falls. We're gonna continue on, do something entirely different. All right, remember how I promised you there'd be something entirely different next? We've reached it, and that is a complete moonshine still. Yeah, so this is, as you can see, a rock shelter that the Forest Service has fenced off to protect an archaeological site. And that site is actually a moonshine still. And not too many people actually know this is here, which is surprising. But if you look back up in there, you can see there's all kinds of old drums and barrels. The still itself, of course, back in here, you can see back on that rock there, we got some old jugs, old wooden barrels strewn about. It's really cool that all this is here. And this is actually the only complete moonshine still site in the Daniel Boone National Forest that I know of. I know there are probably more. And if anybody knows where they are and like to share that with me privately, do feel free to message me. I know where there are a lot of sites, still sites, but none complete like this. So yeah, this is super cool. But just imagine what it would have been like to try to get to this dang thing back in the day before we had maintained trails and stuff. I mean, you're talking way off the beaten path. You know, pretty good hiding spot for a still, I'd say. Obviously, no one found it up until this became a national forest, because here it still is. All right, so I reached the junction here. We can cut up there and go to the Rock Bridge parking area, or we can go that way and go to Rock Bridge and Creation Falls. Originally, I was going to go to Rock Bridge and Creation Falls, but I think I'm actually just going to go ahead and cut up in the interest of time. It's a little later than I realized it would be, and got a little bit of a road walk back to the car. All that to say is I decided to just go ahead and scratch that, and we're going to continue on up there. Got a pretty good climb out of here, but nothing unmanageable. So I'm gonna knock this out real fast and get back to the car, and we'll probably finish up there. Have you ever mentioned how much I despise road walking? My least favorite kind of hiking to do. All right, guys, about 7.7 miles later, I have made it back to the car. And yeah, that was a pretty great trip. We had pretty much all you could ask for. We had fall color, we had arches, we had views, we had a moonshine still, we even had a waterfall. So I call that a pretty productive, 7, almost 8 miles. But with that, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully it won't be nearly as long before I see you guys on the next adventure.